And so after being in the belly of the fish, he was spat out on the seashore. And he wasn't looking so good. I believe that the main reason the people of Nineveh listened to Joshua is that he was such a shocking sight. And he had a shocking story to back up his appearance. You know, what are you doing, man? What happened to you? I just ran away from God. I didn't want to come and tell you this, but God told me to come and tell you this. So listen up. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if his skin bore the marks of the burning that he experienced. Jesus still bears the marks of the crucifixion in his hands and in his feet. And he said, just as Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights, not from Friday afternoon to Sunday morning, folks. That's not nearly 3 days and 3 nights. And Jesus is no liar. Let's not cut the gospel in half, okay? Stop believing Catholic churchianity dogma. Stop believing lies like, oh, you can be a person who goes around killing people and you can be a Christian. I'm a little off topic, but I always seem to get on this track because that's the main thrust of my channel's songs, what God has inspired me to put out into the world. We have got to love our enemies. Oh, God. Anyway, Jesus bore the marks of the scars of the nails in his hands, and I believe Jonah bore those as a testimony to the people of Nineveh. His skin was probably burned. And so there he was preaching to them. They were listening. It was a shocking story, and it woke them up. Just like this story that's just recently come out. What was it, 3 months ago? 4 months ago? Joshua Malakala, however you say it, came out with a shocking story. Days from now, I am coming to get my church. And he set a date. Jonah set a date. And Jonah really was sent by God. I believe Joshua really was sent by God. What did he have in it for him? I heard he wasn't even paid to go on the Sent Twins shows. He was in for a roasting. And prophets are in for it. Tell you what. It's no fun. It's no fun. Speaking for God in a wicked and adulterous generation, they're just going to hate you. I don't know how many churches I've been kicked out of. I've been hopping from church to church looking for a church where the pastor wasn't a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're hard to find, folks. Because most pastors in the Western churches today, I believe, are more interested in making a smooth sermon, nice sounding sermon. I'm so sick of nice sermons. Than in cutting to the chase, getting to the heart of the matter, and actually addressing the needs of the people and the society of today, and being, hated by the world. They don't want to risk that. They want to be loved by the world. So they embrace the world's pagan traditions, Easter, Halloween. They try to dress it up as Christian, even Christmas. Didn't mean to get into this, folks, here, but Christmas is pagan in origin. It was against the law for Christians to keep it back in the day. It was like only 100 years ago. But we keep wanting to adopt the ways of the world. God said, don't be like them. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. I'm probably going to lose a lot of subscribers by saying this. But there, I said it. I don't care. You know, it's not about getting subscribers. I was excited that I got up to 77 a few days ago because I didn't like being at 66. Anyway, I'm sidetracked. I'm sorry. Listen, Joshua, who set a date, shouldn't be just discounted because the date came and went without the rapture happening, because, you know, maybe in some other calendar there's a September 23 still coming, but I don't think so. I think basically God let the date pass, just like he did let those 40 days pass, and he did not strike Nineveh as he had warned that he would through the prophet Jonah. And why not? Because of his mercy. The mercy of the Lord endures forever. And he sees the poor and needy out there, and there is a revival happening, and he doesn't want to stop it. Let it roll. Let it rip. And let the cut be made, as my son Timmy prophetically declared just a few nights ago. God is parting a sea right now. He's parting the waters. As my new song, God parted the waters. I hope you'll go and check it out. If he's parting the waters, he's actually splitting the peoples, because waters represent peoples. So right now he's making a division. He's picking, I think he's marking the ones that are headed for heaven very, very shortly, whenever the rapture does happen. And it is going to happen. God isn't, just idly threatening that judgment is going to fall on the earth. There will be 7 years of great tribulation. And it all lines up. The timing is just perfect. But every day that goes by, someone's being saved. And many people are being saved right now. And God is not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to the knowledge of the truth. So praise God. I feel like I'm being a little redundant here, but let's just hold on to faith, and let's hold on to hope and love. And let's not be so bogged down with the jots and tittles and the, pragmatic details that a lot of the mockers and scoffers are pointing at, I mean, I was tempted when I first saw Brother Joshua talking to discount him just because of what he does with his tongue. I was like, oh, that looks a little snaky. So what? You gonna discount me because I look like a rabbit? Huh? You can do that, but that's just the flesh. We have to look at the heart. God looks at the heart. Man looks at the outward. And I think people under the old covenant, I call them old covenant Christians, they don't understand that the new covenant doesn't fit into the old covenant. It's not the same at all. Dispensationalism is absolutely true. There is a dispensation of grace right now, but it's about to be a different one. Okay? And so you can't put new wine into old wineskins. And the very first miracle that Jesus performed was making wine, and the new wine that Jesus brought. It's all so deep. Everything is in layers of depths for Jesus. The new wine was better than the old. And Jesus brought a new covenant that was better than the old. And this is coming from someone who literally tried to keep the old covenant for years, okay, folks? I mean, I was trying to do every jot and tittle I could. I totally refused pork. I literally put fringe on the edges of all my garments. I tied a ribbon around my hand, a ribbon around my wrist that had Deuteronomy, 6, 4, and 5 on it. Hear, O Israel, Jehovah, your God, Jehovah is one. All these things that, ordinances that were made to kind of keep the flesh in line for the old covenant believers. And to show that we needed grace. Because there is no one who keeps the law. Because even if you break it in one little point, if you don't go to Jerusalem 3 times a year, men, to keep those feasts, you're cut off from God's people, according to the old covenant. If you're not circumcised, if you've committed adultery, well, according to the old covenant, you better be stoned, not according to Jesus. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. I need to get that song made. I've got it written down. I've never recorded it. Oh, please. Believe in Jesus. Believe in his mercy and his grace. Believe in his prophets whom he's sent. It's all for your good. If we just believe, it's our work to believe. And it is a work to believe, I must say, over the past few weeks. As high watch dates have come and gone and come and gone. It's our work to believe. And just a few nights ago, I was just letting go. You know that song? We need to let go and let God. It's a good song, I believe. Anyway, I was just going, God, I give up. I give up. I can't seem to tell when you're coming, but what I don't give up is sitting at your feet and watching for you and waiting. I don't understand what's going on with the dates, but I think the point I know the point of Jonah's message wasn't the date. And I know now the point of Brother Joshua's message wasn't the date. It's all about hearts, testing hearts, turning hearts. And he's making the cut right now. God is making a cut. He's calling out anyone from the highways and byways that'll come in, and they're taking the first places where the old Christian fuddy-duddies should have been, but they're fuddy-duddies. They're stuck in their pews, dead in their seats, thinking that tithing and going to church and being a good Christian is going to get them into heaven. They're not trusting in Jesus. They're not relying on him fully, and they're definitely not eagerly, longing for and hastening the day of his coming. They're so comfortable with their pensions or their comfy houses there and their lazy boys, and they got their pharmakeia drugs just dulling their heads down. God have mercy. God have mercy. I'm probably ruffling a lot of feathers. I've always tended to do that ever since I asked God for the gift of prophecy. I didn't know exactly what I was getting into, but that all of God's people would prophesy. You might get your face slapped a few times. I have. You might be kicked out of church. But you'll be on God's side. And you have a large family waiting for you in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad if you have to suffer, and if your flesh suffers. Like Jonah's flesh suffered, but it was for a good purpose. His ego suffered, but it was for a good purpose. Joshua Malakala, or whatever his name, I'm sorry, he is getting roasted right now. And mostly by the religious leaders. Just like Jesus. Main persecution is probably going to come to even the last believers, as it always has, through religious leaders who are just satanically motivated. They're probably going to be bringing in blue laws, folks. It's going to look so good and so Christian. But That's another Catholic lie, that Sunday is the Sabbath. It isn't. Wake up. God never changed his holy day. And this isn't, the Sabbath isn't some heavy burden. It's for us. I used to be, when I was under the law, when I felt like I was under the law and I had left off grace before I understood grace, I was very anxious on Fridays to get everything done, to make sure I didn't have to cook on the Sabbath and I didn't have to do this and that. And I would yell at the kids, and it wasn't gracious. But Jesus brought grace and truth. And he said, the Sabbath is made for man, not man for the Sabbath. But he acknowledged the Sabbath, and the first church acknowledged the Sabbath, and they gathered on the Sabbath in the synagogues. Synagogues, okay? We are talking the Sabbath after Jesus, okay? The early Christians did not all of a sudden, upon Jesus' resurrection, decide that Sunday was the Sabbath because Jesus rose on Sunday. And by the way, what's exactly 3 days and 3 nights after an evening?